Are you an aspiring speaker ready to command the stage? I'm hosting my 6-week training created for the next generation of transformational speakers. That means you desire to confidently communicate the message that you've been called to share with the masses in a way that will move them to shift something in their lives immediately. If you're not scared to get in front of an audience, but your delivery hasn't made people clamor to get to you or work with you, then there's something missing. And I bet that we can pinpoint exactly what it is in this one-of-a-kind training. Doors are now open for just a short time. So come learn how to captivate your audience, attract your tribe, and use speaking from the stage physically or virtually to grow your platform exponentially. I know that I can help you become more magnetic, more powerful, and more memorable if you'll let me. To find out more details and view real-life client results, head to commandthestage.com. The training only comes around once a year, so you don't want to miss this. Come to commandthestage.com.
You need to tell your story. Your story matters. It is important, and it inspires people to also feel like I am part of a big change.
You're listening to the Redefining Wealth podcast with Patrice Washington, and you have caught us in a very special week because this is a space where you come every week to learn more about what it means to chase purpose, not money. Every week, I share with you the original definition of wealth, which is the condition of well-being. But let me tell you something I know to be true. We become more well in our lives when we tell the truth about our stories. Many of us are unwell and unable to step into our purpose because we are stuffing down many of the things that have actually made us who we are and given us the heart for why we do what we do and why we desire to serve people the way that we do. And I'm here to help you break free of that during this Give Voice to Truth month. I want you to truly own your voice in the marketplace by being real about how you came to this purpose that you have. And so all week, I'm interviewing amazing graduates of my signature program, Command the Stage, because doors are now open until this Saturday, August 17th. And I want you to hear what a woman sounds like when she owns her story, when she gives voice to truth, and when she allows it to propel her in the marketplace. There is something so unique and beautiful about each and every one of these stories. And today, I'm excited to introduce you to this graduate. Sandra Ocasio is a digital marketing expert who built her online coaching business after experiencing her first military move in early 2016. She departed her corporate position to follow her husband on his military orders, but in the process, Sandra began to coach in multiple 7-figure coaching programs like mine and private communities supporting hundreds of women to get clear on their messaging and launch strategies. She went from being seen as just another behind the scenes kind of informational trainer to actually using her own personal story to attract clients, which allows her to help them increase their impact and income while they engage, excite, and enroll their own audience. It's a beautiful dance, and I'm so excited to welcome Sandra to the podcast. Welcome to the Redefining Wealth podcast, Sandra.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
You know, when I was thinking about bringing Command the Stage back, after not doing it for almost 2 years, the last cohort that I did was fall of 2022. And then going into 2023, I just strongly felt like God was like, no. And you know my thing about obedience. What would my life look like if I just listened and didn't try to fight? And so sometimes it means to not do things, not to just hurry up and do stuff. Because when I did Command the Stage originally, it was like, boom, boom, boom. God dropped it in my spirit. Let me go do it. And then this time he was like, no more right now. And I was like, I love Command the Stage. Oh my goodness. And when I was starting to feel released to do it again, one day I opened Facebook and I saw you on another flyer. And after Redefining Wealth Live last year, it just made me really sit for a second, because I remember when I first launched Command the Stage, when God first dropped it in my spirit, you were like the first person I talked to about it because you were on my team at the time. And I was like, I had this idea. What do you think? I don't know. I feel like God is saying this. And then to watch you go from being in the background on a lot of people's teams, but, being in the background on my team doing all the tech stuff to now I see you on these flyers all the time, speaking, traveling, taking the stage. It was just so important to me that I invite you to be a part of this series on Command the Stage, because not only were you a part of the original, like, let's help me make it happen, to watch you go through it and then use it. And then when God says, I'm released again, see you as a person who's actually just out doing all the things after being in this program. I'm like, I couldn't figure out anyone better to kick this series off with. So I just want to tell you, thank you so much for saying yes and for being a part of the original and now the rebirth of Command the Stage. So let's go back to when I first told you about Command the Stage. What did you feel in your spirit when I was talking about it in 2020?
Yes. So one thing that I think it's important for me to say, because this is actually a full circle moment for me. I don't know if you remember, there was one day where I texted you, you had just had 1 million downloads on your podcast. And you guys created, I remember the team created like a little video for the 1 million downloads, and Leo reacted to that video. And I sent you that video of Leo reacting to that, right? In that moment, I said to myself, I have to be on that podcast at some point. And here we are, like, what is it? Years later. So for me, it was like, oh my God. So anytime you would tell me to like help you with any project, for me, it was always like, yes, what do we need to do? What do we have to do? And like, I remember you telling me I was in the shower and I got this download and you said something about you guys were at the gym and let's make it happen. How do we make it happen? Right. And so I think that for me, I visualized it the way you told me. And that's exactly what I saw happen. And then for me, it was even more important to say, I know this is the program that I need, but I just didn't say it at that moment. Like I knew I needed that. And so even being part of it was just, oh my God, like it changed everything for me. So to you, I have to always, and I always tell you this, to you, I always have to thank you, because even having access and proximity to you during that time made me become a better human being. You know, my family thanks me for that. Essentially, it's all thanks to you and to all your leadership as a team member and the guidance as a friend and the support as a coach. Like all those were so critical for my growth that I would not be here. Anytime I actually get an opportunity and I see the contract come through, I'm not thinking, oh, thank me. I thank Patrice. I thank Command the Stage, because that's the reason it's happening. And so it's an honor for me to be here.
Oh my gosh. And how is my little friend Leo? How is he?
He's doing so good. But it was that moment that I remember texting you. Remember, he was like,
Yes.
because it was like a song and he was like, yes, yes. And then I texted you, I was like, this boy is hyped. And so today, as I was getting ready to jump on, I was like, oh my God, I remember that. I still have that video. I meant to even send it to you. I was like, when it was 1 million downloads, I wanted to be on the podcast. And here we are.
Yeah.
Multiple.
It's almost 20 million downloads. By the end of the year, we'll be at 20 million downloads. Can you imagine? Isn't that wild? Oh my gosh. I'm so grateful for the people who have seen the vision all along with me, that God has assigned people who locked arms with me. And it's like, we don't have to talk every day, but it's like when you need somebody, it's like, okay, I know that I have that type of support. And oh my gosh, it just makes me so happy. So thank you for those words. And let's get into your Command the Stage journey. When did you actually enroll in Command the Stage? Was it 2021?
Yes, it was 2021 going into 2022. So like I did it, I think the fall of 2021. And then I actually did Command the Stage live in 2022, like early on in 2022. And I mean, I remember when you rolled it out again, at that point, I was like, I was already an informational speaker, what I consider an informational speaker, right? Like people were inviting me on their platform to like give knowledge on funnels and tech and all the stuff. And I was like, great, I like these opportunities. But then I started realizing, I'm like, this is not really creating the impact that I want. And I knew for me, I wanted more. I didn't want to just be an informational person, right? Information is great. Everyone could get information from anywhere. But for me, it was like, I knew I had a story to tell. I just didn't know how to do that. And so when you rolled out Command the Stage again, in that moment, I was like, I gotta be part of this one because I had a feeling, it's so crazy. I had a feeling that you were going to be pausing. And I said, if I don't get into this right now, I don't know if she's going to do it again. I just felt it. I was just like, I saw that you were doing so many other things. And I'm like, I know she's extremely spiritually led. I know God is going to shift her somewhere else. I got to get into this. And I remember calling my husband and saying, I know this is another investment, but I'm doing it. And he was just like, go for it. Is this going to help you? Is this going to elevate you? Is this going to make you happier? And I was like, absolutely. So there was like no question there. And then going through the program, I feel like it gave me the permission to actually put voice to something that it was a torment that it shifted into something I wanted to share. And you helped me put voice to that torment to actually not even make it into like I can actually share the story without breaking down, or it's like, it's been so healing sharing the story over and over and over. And it's really set me apart from all the other speakers when I do attend live events or, virtual events. I'm recognizing that what you taught me is what I actually implement every single time. And I'm able to utilize that framework every single time. So life-changing.
It's the gift that keeps giving. I tell people all the time, I'm like, you can walk in a space and nobody really was coming for you. You weren't the big person on the, on the flyer or on the event site. And by the end, people are literally like, oh my gosh, you were why I was here. Do you have that experience?
Absolutely. So in April, I had an event. I went to a live event in New York. It was actually the first time my dad saw me speak for the first time in person. And one of the things that, he said to me, because obviously I wanted him to see me speaking. One of the parts of the story that I do share is that, it was a part that was shameful for me to actually even say it. And so to have my dad be there and be able to share that in front of him and not feel that resistance was everything. But one of the things that he recognized was like, everyone was great. But what I noticed was that they all stood up to, like, I had a standing ovation at the end, mainly because it was one of those events that I only had like 20 minutes to speak. So I had to use my time wisely. And thank you to you. I knew exactly how to incorporate my story and then still give the information, right? And most people take 30 to 60 seconds to talk about their accolades and then they move on to the information. I took my full 3 minutes, told my story in an impactful way, and then still was able to share the information. But I got more of the, oh my God, I can't believe that you were so vulnerable with us, and it resonated more because people want to make that emotional connection with you. And so if you are just an informational speaker and you're not being sought out afterwards, it's mainly because they like the information, but they didn't connect with you. And so for me, that was the piece that you helped me craft. And so I'm always thankful for you, because I honestly would have still been an informational speaker and just kept working even harder, trying to be recognized. But now that I actually have incorporated the piece that you taught me how to craft together, has made a huge change in how I show up. And now being able to not just understand that skill, but also you gave me the confidence that I didn't have. And so that's the part that to me was extremely valuable, because in some seasons we are operating with borrowed confidence. And sometimes that's why you need to be careful with who you surround yourself with. And for me, you were that important person that helped me actually get the confidence to say, you could tell your story. You're not demonizing anyone. You're telling your truth and you're helping others in the process of that. And so for me, that was everything, because there is a story to tell.
Yeah. What do you feel actually supported you in having the confidence? Because I hear so many graduates of the program say, you gave me the confidence, you gave me the confidence. But what was it that you feel like really boosted your confidence?
For me, what actually helped me was the fact that one, you were able to give me feedback on here's how you're telling the story. And you were able to identify the areas that I was actually almost trying to repel in saying. And you're like, you can say that. And here's a better way of saying it to help you articulate that where you're not feeling like your body's rejecting it. And I think even at Command the Stage Live, there was a few moments where I was like, I don't know how to say this, or I felt like I was tippy-toeing, and you gave me that permission, which activated the confidence that I needed. And that is the piece that I think most people sometimes don't know how to even articulate, where it's like, I'm trying to make a point, but I'm not sure if I'm making the point properly. And so you were able to say, you're on the right track. Try this. And that was, to me, I mean, that right there was everything, because it's like, now I have the confidence to tell the story, even though it could be a shameful story. It could be a difficult story to tell, but now it doesn't feel like that. Like now it has a purpose for me to tell the story. And the other part that I will add is that even in the cohort that I was in, there was a lot of women with a lot of phenomenal stories, right? Some were very tough, some were very difficult. And for a moment, I never felt like, is my story enough struggle story to tell? I never felt that, because you had a way of always saying, don't ever measure how much of a struggle it is. Just make sure that it's a story that's going to actually support the point that you're trying to make. You're always thinking about the audience, right? And for me, that was like it, where it was like, okay, I don't need to have a struggle story per se. Just make sure that you're actually speaking from a place of like, I've been there, done that, become relatable, become memorable for the audience. And that all of that added to the confidence that I have now.
That's so good. So is there any difference for you in how you prepared for your talks when you were an informational speaker only to now you becoming more of a transformational speaker? Like just your process, because you would be someone that I would say, you had experience as a speaker. People were requesting you to teach on tech and all this stuff. But now just with adding even this 3-minute piece to it and you taking your time in the beginning of your talks, what's different about how you prepare now?
I don't change the story. I feel like the only times that I do change the story is like and you taught us this as well. You could say the story in a minute. You could say it in 3 minutes. You could say it in an hour, whatever it is that you have. Right. And so I always pay attention to what is the audience that's currently in front of me. And this was a part that you were huge in, where you kept saying, cater to the people who's in the audience, right? If it's going to be a room full of moms, now you can change your story to actually make sure that you're catering to them. Or if it's a group of entrepreneurs that are corporate, then you can incorporate this piece. So it's like, that's the preparation that I have now. It's no longer like, what am I going to say? It's like, who am I talking to? And I think that adds another layer of like, I'm going to walk in here and crush this because I know who I'm speaking.
See, and that's the confidence right there, right? Because when you don't have that down, people spend so much time agonizing over the process of putting their talks together. Like Sandra, you have known me for years now. I can't tell you how many times I'm somewhere backstage getting ready to speak. And, I say my little prayer and I'm like, God, I give it to you. And I'm ready to hit the stage. And people are like, did you come to rehearsal earlier? No, I didn't. Where are your stuff? Where are your slides? Where's your this? I'm like, literally, I go with God. I don't know. Because I have that inner confidence and conviction that my story is so compelling. I don't have to try to razzle dazzle people with slides and all this stuff. I'm not saying that you can't use slides. I do use slides depending on the event, but slides will never be a crutch for me. A projector going out will never be a crutch for me. Them cutting the time from 45 minutes to 30 minutes. I don't stress about things like that. I'm like, I'm the girl you throw in when you need to make up time because everybody else has gone over. And if you still want to go to lunch on time, I'm your girl.
Because love that.
I'm still going to be impactful, whether it's 10 minutes or 20 minutes or 30 minutes, because I already know what I'm coming to do. I don't have to stress about that.
Ooh, I love that. And that was another thing you taught us, right? Knowing how to recover, because sometimes they may actually end up introducing you and it's all jacked up, right? So you always would like reiterate how your introduction, who you are, and what do you want the audience to remember you by? Because the person who's presenting you may not actually, they just have whatever it is in front of them, right? And so that was another important thing for me. One of the main events that I went to, there was a bunch of tech issues. And I was like the person that they called, hey, can you come fix it? And so although I was helping them with that, and then they called me on stage and I'm like, oh my God, I could have gotten flustered, but I was like, I'm already ready. Like, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. So even though I was called out of place, I was just like, all right, we're still going to jump on and do what we need to do and still do it without looking like we're flustered or anything like that. So it's like also understanding that you have to give yourself grace and to embrace whatever it is that's happening. It's for a reason, but it's not supposed to derail you, or it's not supposed to knock you out of the stage. It's supposed to make you stronger. And I think that was one of the things that you also helped us through, where it was like, these are the things that could come up. Be ready, right? And so that was so helpful. Like, I mean, I go back to all the material that you gave us, because for me, that was literally the framework that I follow every single time I'm invited for anything. And even more beyond the stage, it's helped me become a better communicator, if that makes sense. It's helped me actually be able to convey my message with my family, with my loved ones, just being a better communicator, where it's just like, I now know how to put the story together if I'm trying to make a point, and even having conversations that I know may bring up conflict. I'm able to still use that so that I can actually convey the message in a manner where it's received better. And so it's like, I know that has nothing to do with speaking, but I promise you that even that has helped me in that way.
Oh, it has everything to do with speaking. Like, I love hearing for myself, I will say, and also just from so many of Command the Stage graduates, how it improved their personal communication. Just to be able to communicate with more clarity, to enroll people in the vision, to understand, as one of my clients says, that this is a conversation. This is not a confrontation. I'm just very clear, and I'm articulately expressing my needs, wants, desires, where I am in this process, what my next steps are, so that you're very clear on what's about to happen. Command the Stage is about learning how to enroll people in the vision, whatever the vision is that you have. So in a personal sense, I'm not going to throw out anything. I don't want people saying that it's about manipulation. It's not about manipulation at all, but it is about you being so clear and sold out for your vision that you can help other people see it and feel it and want to be a part of it. You don't have to force or twist somebody's arm or anything for any reason. You can empower them with your language and your words.
That's so good. It's so true, though. I think one of the things for me, it was like, I always was trying to figure out, how do I become more impactful? And now understanding what I know now knowing how to actually incorporate this very simple framework that you taught us, I was like, this makes such a huge difference. I'm always the one that is actually getting like, thank you for being so vulnerable, and thank you, because I've made that emotional connection that most informational speakers miss the mark on. And so for me, it does set you apart from the rest. And even if people can't relate to your story, they can still empathize with you. And that makes the emotional connection that you need to become memorable. So everything about Command the Stage was dope. Everything.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Are you an aspiring speaker ready to command the stage? I'm hosting my 6-week training created for the next generation of transformational speakers. That means you desire to confidently communicate the message that you've been called to share with the masses in a way that will move them to shift something in their lives immediately. If you're not scared to get in front of an audience, but your delivery hasn't made people clamor to get to you or work with you, then there's something missing. And I bet that we can pinpoint exactly what it is in this one-of-a-kind training. Doors are now open for just a short time. So come learn how to captivate your audience, attract your tribe, and use speaking from the stage physically or virtually to grow your platform exponentially. I know that I can help you become more magnetic, more powerful, and more memorable if you'll let me. To find out more details and view real-life client results, head to commandthestage.com. The training only comes around once a year, so you don't want to miss this. Come to commandthestage.com. So in the spaces that you're speaking in, are you still talking about the tech stuff? Are you still speaking to entrepreneurs primarily, or have you expanded that?
It's been a combination. So I have expanded. I am still being sought out to like speak about funnels and automations and how to create digital products and how to like take your knowledge and expertise beyond. And, I do still get sought out for that, but I don't just only speak to entrepreneurs. I have been sought out by like other corporations that want to teach their employees how to like systemize their process in their workflow and stuff like that. So it's not just entrepreneurs. Now it's also corporations. And that's been huge because it allowed, and also not just in English, but also in Spanish, which
I was gonna say,
yeah, that's been amazing. So all positive things. I know that the Spanish piece, I'm still getting comfortable because even though Spanish is my first language, I've been speaking English for so long that my English has become a little bit better than my Spanish, but still it's giving me the confidence in like being able to actually translate marketing in Spanish. Some of the feedback that I got when I did some of that was, it's so great to be able to hear someone teach this in Spanish and not have to hear it in a translator, because they'll hear conferences here in the US and they have to hear it through a translator. And so it's like not the same. And so all of that has been great. But even more, I've also given myself permission to say I'm going into another culture that sometimes actually shies away from telling a shameful story or a story that they don't feel like it's necessarily neat. Like as if I was telling my business, I know now how to tell my story instead of telling my business. And that has been huge.
ooh, that is so good. So you've been doing international speaking too. I know when you came to Redefining Wealth Live last year, you told us that you had spoken in Colombia. Did you ever see yourself being flown out to another country to take the stage?
Absolutely not. I honestly always thought, okay, I'm going to keep doing this informational speaking and trainings and stuff like that. But I think it's just another level that it is possible when you are actually ready. And I think that being ready is actually the door to opening up other opportunities that you don't see possible for you. And I think that you were able to see that possible for me by helping me through this. And so I'm telling you, Patrice, I can't thank you ever enough for just creating that. And I knew that from the moment that you called me, I was like, damn, this looks really like, I know this is going to be big. And I knew deep inside, I was like, and I know this is what I need. So carrying out the vision and then seeing you go create it. And then when you did it that last time in 2021, I was like, I got to do them because I have no idea where she's going. I know she's got TV and she's got this and she's got a lot. I'm jumping in before she jumps ship. So it was good.
Oh, I'm so glad that you did. Look at all you've done over these last few years. Tell me about when you were being asked to speak before as an informational speaker. Do you see a difference in how people are now approaching you about paying you?
Yep.
You are more transformational and people are hearing your story and they want the whole package. What's the difference like there?
Well, one, in money, it's a huge difference. And it's not play. It's a huge difference, mainly because I think even though your content could be really good, your information could be really great, it still doesn't pay more unless it's something that it's like, man, you shake the people a little bit. You made them move, right? And I think that's part of transformational speaking that is so powerful, where even someone that may not actually have gone through what I went through, they are going to get up and say, oh my God, what you shared inspired me to now actually go take action. And that becomes a huge part where people take that into consideration. Information speaking made me money, but it didn't make me actually memorable. And it didn't make me feel like I was actually doing impact. Could have I stayed there? I probably could have, but I knew that I was meant for more. And I knew that I was meant to impact more. And so for me, that change, even how I show up, the posture that I'm showing up in is completely different. And so, like I said, information is cool, but transformation is just another level of like, okay, that's me. That's the person that I've become. And I had to allow her to become who I am now because I was stuck in the little bubble of I'm only going to tell information and I'm not going to tell my story. And it's like, no, you need to tell your story. Your story matters. It is important and it inspires people to also feel like I am part of a big change. And it's not just the great information that I gave you, but it's the story that I was able to share and I was able to inspire. So that to me has been the biggest part. But when it comes down to the money, I'm now comfortable saying this is what my rate is. This is what I charge. And so that piece has also been like a whole nother level of, I don't want to call it audacity, but it's a whole nother level of like, this is what it is.
Good. I love hearing all of this. Oh my gosh. Okay. So Sandra, if someone has been on the fence, especially those people who are like, well, I've been speaking for years. My big thing is if you've been speaking for years and people are not asking to work with you, if you have been speaking for years and you are not selling them any books, anything, at the end of the day, you still going home with your books. This says that there is a problem. This is a SOS. There is a problem. So as one of the people that I'm talking to this week who is actually more experienced, especially as an informational speaker, what would you just say to them about the difference that they can expect when they allow themselves to be a student again? Because some people are just, let's keep it real, a little prideful about it. They're like, well, I've been speaking longer than her. But are you impactful and transformational really?
Right. What I would say to anyone that's on the fence of joining Command the Stage would be, if you are ready to actually make the impactful difference that you want to make, you have to jump in here and make sure that you understand. I think it's the psychology piece where I love that you said it's not manipulation. It's understanding that if you want to walk away from that stage and people to actually remember you, they have to make that emotional connection with you, not the information that you have, but with you. They are able to say, that girl that shared this story about, and because they are able to see themselves, oh, if she was able to overcome this, so can I. We all have something that we need to overcome. And when we share our stories of whatever it is we've overcome, whatever hurdles we have surpassed, it empowers people to actually say, that could be me too. It's not about you. It's about your purpose. It's about the people who you're here to serve. And the reality is that all these stories or whatever it is that is your story is meant to be like, I really truly believe that God was already shifting me into this from a long time ago. Right. And so it's like, I think that when we don't utilize that story as a tool to be able to create the impact that we're meant to create, that's where we miss the mark. And so for me, that was the mark that you helped me. That was the gap that you helped me fulfill because I was not doing that. Information is great, but we don't get to move people with just information. You can get information from the internet. But when it comes down to really creating transformation, it comes from, and it actually also increases your authority because they now actually can get on board with, oh my God, if she was able to overcome this, or, you are humanizing your brand by adding that piece to your story, to your speech or to your presentation. And so that is the hugest part. I don't care if you give me 15 minutes, I'm still going to take the 3 minutes and tell you about me. And guess what? My information is now they're paying attention because now they're like, oh my God, I want to listen to whatever it is that she has to say because I've already connected with them on an emotional side where I became relatable. I became a human at that point. And that's important. And so anyone on the fence, you're currently still trying to figure it out. Don't sit here and try to figure it out. You're going to spend too many seasons trying to figure it out and more time is going to pass. And one of the things that I know to be true is that there's someone waiting for us. You've always told us this. Someone is currently praying for you to come along and help them. And so if you're not taking that opportunity to do this now, and like I said, I don't know where Patrice is going. I know she's out here doing TV and doing all the things. If you do it this season, jump on, because I promise it was probably the best investment times 1,000 times. It was that good. And it changed my life that much.
That makes me so happy. Can I be honest with you? I really don't believe anything changes in those pillars until you are willing to take radical action. And sometimes that means you have to get out of the comfort zone that is your house right now. I want to invite you to Redefining Wealth Live. Take radical action and come and join me live in person, October 6th through 8th, because this is going to be a transformative experience like no other. This is not a business conference, so we're not loading this with all the how-tos and to-dos and just strategy. This is about your soul. Redefining Wealth Live is a vibrant gathering of spirit-led, like-hearted purpose chasers who come together to awaken, redefine, and actualize wealth in every area of their lives. The goal is to move you from autopilot to authenticity. So I want you to picture yourself leaving, not just inspired, but transformed. In our deeply connected community, we go beyond talking. We collaborate, we apply actionable insights, we work on our scripts, we get in our wisdom circles and really talk about our individual next steps. This is an unparalleled connection. There is clarity and confidence in that room that you want to apply to your life. You need this in order to bring your vision to life. So this is the room you want to be in, October 6th through 8th. I want to invite you to go to redefiningwealthlive.com right now to secure your spot. That's redefiningwealthlive.com right now. And when you do, you'll have access to our next bonus co-created connection call where you can learn from me well before the event and also start to connect with other attendees. You don't want to miss this. redefiningwealthlive.com. I always really value your feedback about who I am and how I am as a coach, because I know that being in tech and building funnels, you've gotten to be around so many coaches and in the, the background of so many other people's businesses. And one of the things you said to me at Redefining Wealth Live last year that I will always just keep with me is that you say, I've been in so many people's like back ends and all this stuff. And you are the real deal in terms of who you are as a human. And I value that so much. It's one of the reasons, Sandra, where I just genuinely feel like as long as I show up and I keep my heart pure, my intentions pure, my motivations pure, and just my offering is what I know to be true. So I'm teaching literally and helping y'all from what I know to be true from my own experience from doing all of this. I can help be a part of the ripple effect of other people's light and transformation and what other people do in the world. And it matters to me that you've been in not just taken so many programs, but you've been on the back end of so many people's programs. And you still always tell me, like, I rock with you.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Like, I rock with you. And that means a lot to me because for people who are not used to being in online programs or being, in these types of spaces, I can understand them being skeptical. And is this real? Is this person legit? Are they really going to help me with the talk? Or is this really going to be a good community of women? And I know there's so many other things out there, but when you say, no, this is real, I'm like, this real. So I don't have to tell you. I'm just letting you know it's available.
Yes. And I would not say it to gas you up. I am legitimately saying it because I have seen the back and not just even the back end of their business, but I've actually been able to get to know the person more. And I'm like, dang, I could see where there is this, you are just have how you are online is how you are offline, how you are behind the scenes. And sometimes I have seen people put on just to put on. Right. And so when I say you are the real deal, I mean it. I am. And I forever am grateful because, and I've told you this, like even my daughter, Melanie, she's like, you have become such a different mom thanks to everything that you've worked on. And I know that that would not have been possible if it wouldn't have been because of you, because you were not just my coach, but I had access and proximity to see how you move. And it also inspired me to just become a better human being. And I promise you that that's what it is for me, that it's like, I always think, and like you said, we don't talk every day, but when I think about certain things, I'm like, damn, and that's thanks to Patrice and thanks to her wisdom and thanks to her leadership that I am who I am today. And so you are that person.
I receive it. I can receive that now. I'm definitely in a season where I can receive it and I'm grateful. I've always been grateful, but where I can just really receive it and respect Myself, like
Mm.
respect. I think sometimes we outsource our respect of ourselves based on what other people say or other people's validation. But now I feel it. I know it to be true. I resonate with it. And then what you share is confirmation of that. And it's icing on the cake. You know, it's
Mm.
just a different way to look at it, but it all feels so good and so powerful. And so I'm grateful. I'm grateful to have been able to be a part of your journey. I'm grateful to get to cheer for you from the sidelines. Anytime I see you posting, I'm like, heart, let's go. Yes. You're always posting something so good. You're always posting about speaking somewhere, being on a podcast somewhere, doing all these things. And to see you come from the shadows, because even though you were speaking as an informational speaker, I still, when I first met you, just experienced you as like, oh, Sandra's in the back end doing the things. And to see you just rise from that, I know it's been impactful to your business.
Yes, absolutely. 100%. Day and night. It was like, oh, I wasn't supposed to be in the back. But I was supposed to spend those years in the back for a reason. Like, I'm not mad at that, but and it really did help me coming to the front. So I needed to be in the back to be able to come in the front. But I just love the whole journey. I've been able to actually embrace the journey and all the ups and downs of it. And so, yeah, I'm here for it.
So good. I love it. Well, thank you for being here, Sandra. How can people find you?
Yes. So you can find me at sandraocasio.com. That is SandraOcasio.com. And you can also find me on Instagram at I am Sandra Ocasio. And I share all kinds of stuff there. So excited to connect with anyone.
Yes, you guys make sure you reach out and speak to Sandra. Let her know if her story has impacted you, if her takeaways have like shifted something in you. Please don't hesitate to reach out. And again, we are now currently enrolling for Command the Stage. So you are welcome to have your own transformation. If you're someone who's been an informational speaker for years and you see that the market is changing, that the expectation of the listeners and conference attendees are changing and you want to stand out, you want to be more powerful, more memorable, more bold every time you take the stage and stop hiding your story, then I invite you, allow me to support you. This is going to be an intimate cohort. Command the Stage is not thousands of people at all. We have amazing ambassador rooms where you get to practice your talk. We have so many different bonuses and incentives. So just go to commandthestage.com, register before August 17th, because we kick off with our welcome orientation on August 18th. And I want you to be there. In no time, you can have a talk that, like Sandra said, you can deliver in 1 minute, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. You don't have to worry about the time frame. You know how to be impactful no matter how much time is given. That is the power of Command the Stage, and I would love to support you. So until our next episode tomorrow, I want you to go live your life's purpose, find fulfillment, and earn more without ever chasing money. We'll talk to you later.